Welcome back to FMJeeping. My name is Mark, and today we're going to be installing a Spectre cowl intake. So I've wanted to do an intake for quite some time. It was always on my to-do list, but it was one of those things where, you know, it'd be nice to have, but I don't necessarily need it. So lately I've been kind of contemplating what it would take to put coilovers in the front of the rig, and come to find out a lot of people end up moving their airbox. Now, to move the airbox, you need some type of intake so the engine can breathe. And a lot of people seem to go with a cowl intake, which I prefer because it pulls cooler air from right below the windshield and not in the engine bay. And if you've ever driven an XJ, you know how hot underneath that hood gets. So a cowl intake is not your only option. There are snorkels that pull air from outside the hood and bring it in. There are short ram, which basically pulls more air from underneath the hood, but once again you're dealing with those under hood temps. There is THOR Off-Road, which offers a beautiful cowl intake. Now at a price tag of $180 at the time of filming, it's a nice piece, except for I just, for something like an intake like this where I feel like I could probably build it cheaper, I'm passing unless I can find something used. And unfortunately in my area they haven't been popping up. However, there was an option years and years ago. Spectre offered a I believe it was the first cowl intake for the Jeep Cherokee XJ, and that's what this is right here. This is the first version of an underhood cowl intake from a company. Unfortunately, this is no longer carried. It's been discontinued by the company, and the only way you're going to find it is used. And it just so happens that, I was perusing Facebook Marketplace and this popped up at a great deal. Now, what I paid for this, it probably would have been more expensive to buy all the components that I needed to build my own. And to be honest with you, it's cheaper, it's faster, and I literally can slap this thing in, cut one hole, and I should be good to go. But with used parts comes a little bit of work too. I'm gonna go ahead, try to clean this up the best I can, spray it down, degrease it, clean it up, and make it so I can bolt it to the Jeep. So that's everything that came out of there when I opened it. Now it's a little bit dirtier than I was expecting, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead, clean this off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the insides all cleaned out. As you can see, for the most part, there's a little bit more cleaning I have to do, but if you look carefully, way down at the end there, and then right here, I've got some welds I want to smooth out. So what I'm gonna do now is take a extended sanding drum and my finger sander, go through this and just clean up some of these welds just so that they're not protruding nearly as much. Pop that hood. So there's this little collar here that holds the stock airbox on. You pull this away, pull this up, same thing here. Let me show you that again. This is the meatier part. Just pull up on this and it separates. There. Separate the breather hose. Put that off to the side, and there should be 3 clips. 1, 2, and then one back here. 3. Box comes out. Filter comes out, and that needs a change. So once you get the air filter out, the stock airbox is held in with 3 bolts. One of mine is broken, so I got 2 more holding it in. I believe these are 12 or 13 mil. I'm just going to get an extension with a deep socket on because this one's a stud, this is a bolt. I'm just going to back these out. now the stock airbox is out, pull on this little collar and get that stock elbow out of there. Yeah. Stock airbox out, stock elbow out. Got it dry fitted on right now. I gotta work on the fitment here, and the fitment over here on the firewall isn't exactly what I would like, and it looks like this is contacting my engine harness. So I gotta massage this down a little bit, create a little bit of space there, put this back in. And the other concern right now is this clamp right here. It's pointed kind of up and toward the windshield. I almost want to take it down and maybe clock at about 45 degrees. So that way it's this part sticking up, so there's more hood clearance. Not to mention, I'd like to get just a tad tighter to the valve cover so I know that I'm not going to hit my hood. Now most of these adjustments can be made because I'm going to loosen this clamp and I'm going to loosen up this clamp. This isn't even tight. Ooh, this isn't even tight. So I got a little room to work here. So I'm going to go through, loosen everything up, and get it sitting right where I want it, dry fitted and not totally buttoned down. Alright, so I went back, I got everything fitted the way I want. One thing you gotta be careful, on this side here, it tapers, and the taper is cut into this adapter here. So I got it basically where I want it. I'm gonna line up the top of this ledge, or edge, right here. I have the center punch, if you can see, it's hard to see, but this fits perfectly here, and it will center the hole. I'm going to drill 3 holes, riv nut these, and then take the intake and mount it, then take the rest of the intake off, scribe the hole, and I'm kind of torn between trying to use a hole saw or maybe use a smaller hole saw and go back and cut the exact hole I need. I'm kind of bounced, I'm torn between it right now. So let me get the adapter mounted and then we'll go from there. So I basically got the adapter where I want it. I think right about there is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead, center punch my other 2 holes, drill, riv nut, and we'll be right back. So I got the hole scribed, the riv nuts are done. So I'm gonna go ahead, probably grab a hole saw, try to find one that's as close to this as possible, or maybe even go up and down. We'll see. This is egg shaped or a little oblong, so it's not gonna be perfect. Yeah, so this is gonna be a little different. So let's see what I end up with. All right, I got FMJeeping coins now available. Limited supply. Get them while they're hot. All right, fairly roughed up hole. Actually came out a little bit better than I was expecting. I'm going to take a sanding drum, just go over that, get it nice and smooth, clean all this schmegma up with a vacuum and some compressed air. Then I should be pretty much done. All right, so I got everything all tightened up, everything's snugged. On the adapter on the firewall, the upper side and lower ceiling surfaces seem to be pretty good. The one on the inside here, there's a little bit of a gap on it. It's kind of hard to see right now. I'll see if I can zoom in right there. I might make a gasket for it, but for the time being, I think we're okay. Now, the thing that we got to worry about is the stock PVC air hose here. Normally, if you can see, it plugs in right here or something like this, and the air box is here. This will not line up, and I bought it used, so it didn't come with a hose. So I got creative. I have a whole bunch of hose that I had from my PVs or my evap delete, and I came up with this piece here. And what I'm going to do is jam this into here. This has a slight bend, and we'll do it like that. So hold on one second. There we go. Let's start the sucker up, see what happens. Right off the go, you can hear the sucking from under the cowl, which is okay by me. Everything seems to be okay. Much quicker throttle response than normal. I don't know if it's any louder in the cab. This cab is pretty loud as it is. Alright, and then the last thing we gotta test, make sure that the hood shuts. Alright, so off camera I went back, I loosened these two couplers, I hammered on the intake just a little bit. It sunk down probably about 1/2 inch, which gave me a little bit more clearance from the top of the hood line to the intake. I rolled a piece of paper over, sat it on top of the intake and lowered the hood, closed the hood all the way. The paper didn't fold, so I think we're in the clear. Time will tell if I get wear marks in the hood or on the intake. A couple things I'm going to do off camera is I got a new filter coming, just peace of mind for me. I'm also going to look at getting a better coupler, probably a color matched one and one that's actually the right size. This has one of those silicone rings on the inside of it to size down the intake. So what I think the intake is actually just a hair bigger than the throttle body, so I want to find one that's going to fit perfect and color match. But really, aesthetics aside, it functions, it works. All right, so that's pretty much it. I regained all this hood space here. Now if I can just work on over here, when I go coil over, I'll have all the space in the world to run my coilovers. So not bad for less than $100. And that concludes this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, leave those down below. We're in the comment sections where they belong. I'll catch you on the next one.